my thought patterns, it would be better and more beneficial for you if you came as often as possible to the lives at 5:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I am live 7 days a week. Today is my day 622 days of being live consecutively. Additionally, you can go to the website, sign up for a PA challenge, personal accountability challenge, because that's what I teach adults. Or you can go on Instagram and TikTok and sign up for the subscriptions. But one book is not going to get you to 860 trillion synaptic connections. This is day in and day out. Jessica said, I have a lot of things to work on, but not giving up when stuff gets hard or got hard. Okay? Again, the questions are, what did you learn today? What did you learn about yourself? And what did you learn about your brain? And Nola is thinking. And I would, today's Real Leader Brain and PA for today are tutelage. And tutelage is instructions, teaching, and guidance. And what I say in both of those is that when you decide to follow someone, when you decide to take on someone else's information, whether it's instruction, teaching, or guidance, two questions that you need to ask yourself. Is this going to lead me to my best? And does this benefit my brain? Is this going to lead me to my best? And does this benefit my brain? And if the answer is yes, proceed. But if the answer is no, do not proceed. Kevin said, myself, I was about to call my kindergarten school until we got to the second word, the second rhyming word. Orange did me in today. That is being honest. Is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And Nola's question about how you're supposed to do that mental math, and Kevin as well. And all of you are being honest, because the person that's whose tutelage you're under is being honest as well. Lola said, I learned that giving up is not an option. That's right. Failure is not an option is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And also quitters never win is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Because think of it this way, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to get to what Nola said. Let's look at the brain. I don't have a wired brain, but let's look at the brain momentarily. So every time you quit doing something, you no longer are activating any of those brain regions. So when you decide you're not going to do mental math anymore, you're not using that region of your brain. When you decide you're not going to do the work that it takes neurologically to fill in the blanks, you're shutting off access. When you don't do word scrambles and acronyms, that's the prefrontal cortex, the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. You're shutting down those neural pathways. So think of it this way. We got a lot of construction here in Las Vegas. They're widening the roads because 115 people are moving here a day. Don't you hate when you're traveling, especially if you're on a road trip and you have to take a detour, or you can't get through, or there's a dead end? Every time you quit, every time you stop, you are stopping that neural pathway from being reinforced and being created. And it's not going to happen. So you got all this blockage, all these blockages. And so then what happens is you just sit there in that temporal lobe right there, in the amygdala, in your limbic system, and now you're just here in your comfort cocoon. And you don't have access to that entire brain. You sitting there with them little bitty grams of amygdala making all these decisions. That's why you don't quit. That's why you don't stop. And failure is okay, because it just means I got to reinforce other regions. I have to put together the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. I have to do this more so that that neural pathway is strengthened and not weakened. That's why people can't think straight. That's why people keep saying dumb shit, because they're not accessing the left hemisphere, the language portion of their brain. People that say they don't like to read, I don't trust them, because basically what you're saying is I don't like to learn. So I'm not about to be sitting there because you don't have full use of your executive function of your brain. The things you say and do left hemispherically are not going to go well. So every time you fail, just keep going. Don't do anything without a strategy, and then just go back and look at the strategy, assess the strategy, and make the strategy better, because you have a whole entire brain that you have access to. And when you quit, and when you fail, and when you get deflated, when you let the left hemisphere of the amygdala literally ruminate over bad things that people said and shit you read and everything else, it just stops you, and it shrinks your ability